I don't recall, but they said you don't have to be great to start something, but you have to start something to be great. And that's so true. Just get something going.
Welcome to the Hummingbird, a place where we have the opportunity to meet interesting people from the blind and visually impaired community. Their goals and accomplishments, their dreams and aspirations, all of this and more is covered on this show brought to you by Sunu. In today's episode, Seavey, content creator and founder of the YouTube channel The Blind Life, shares his experiences on starting his digital journey, his passion for assistive technology, and advice on how to get started. Seavey, welcome to this episode. I would like to ask you, Sam, how are you doing today?
Doing very well. Thank you, Diego, and thank you for having me on.
Such a pleasure to have you today, man. To the few who don't know who you are, could you do a little introduction about you?
Sure. So I guess most people know me from my YouTube channel. It's called The Blind Life. It's a YouTube channel dedicated to helping out individuals affected by vision loss. I myself am legally blind. That's who my channel is for. I make videos about living with vision impairment, how-to videos, tips and tricks videos, and I have a very heavy focus on assistive technology, showing the world what kind of awesome AT devices are available for us.
Cool. Great. So that's actually very interesting. I would like to start by asking, what's the name of your condition, Sam?
So I have Stargardt's disease. Stargardt's, I guess it's kind of funny because growing up, I never, other than my sister who has it as well, I never knew anybody that had it until I was an adult, pretty much. But nowadays, it's like become one of the more common, it's one of the more popular vision impairments. But it's basically a juvenile form of macular degeneration. I don't have any central vision, huge blind spots in my central vision, and my peripheral isn't that great either. But a lot of people always want to know what my acuity is, how well I see. So my acuity is in my good eye, which is my left eye, I'm 2400, right around that. And then in my right eye, I'm 2800, 2850, something like that. Not the best, but not the worst either.
Okay, I understand. It's funny that you mentioned that. People tend to be very curious. I did review some comments on your videos. And people usually tend to comment, "Hey, you don't look blind. You already." I think you made a shirt about it, right? Could you tell me more about it?
Yeah, because that it's very common. I mean, a lot of vision impairment. They call it the invisible disability, like vision impairments like RP, retinitis pigmentosa, people with tunnel vision. They may have no vision in their peripheral vision, but their central vision is still pretty good. So they can stand there and they can look at their phone and they can read a book. But if they try to walk around, they might run into stuff because they don't see it with the peripheral. So someone looking at them might think, "Oh, they're not blind. They're acting totally normal and reading books and stuff, so they're not blind." So I'm a little bit similar, where because of my peripheral, I can see everything around me pretty well. I just can't see the detail because we see detail with our central vision. And so since I don't have central vision, I can't look directly at something and see the detail. Because of that, I don't run into stuff. I don't usually use a cane unless it's in the evening times. So people see that and people see me on my videos and they think, "Oh, this guy's not blind," And I've gotten that before. It always makes me laugh because I think, well, the name of the channel is The Blind Life, and so, yeah, it's not just black and white. People think that you're either blind and you can't see anything at all, or you can see and maybe you just need glasses. They don't realize that there's a wide range in between that most of us fall in. So I've made a t-shirt that says that. It says, "I can see, but I can't. #it's complicated." And that's a very popular shirt.
Love it. Yes.
Yeah.
It's actually very important to have some awareness. Not everyone understands these concepts. Most people would think, on a black or white scale. But yes, there's actually a wide majority of people who would fall in between, such as yourself, right?
Yeah, and that's part of what my channel is all about, is getting that information out there, because I've had spoken with people that say they get angry, and they said, well, maybe they'll kind of lash out at people who think that. And I tell them, you really shouldn't, because it's not, these people aren't being mean or disrespectful. It's just an ignorance. They don't realize they don't live in the visually impaired world. So of course they're not going to know anything about it. So it's our duty as ambassadors and advocates for ourselves to inform people and teach people that not everybody is completely blind, and that there's actually very few, percentage wise, there's very few people who are totally blackout blind. The vast majority of us have some vision.
Right. I would like to ask you, Sam, what was your motivation per se, or how did you become interested specifically in assistive technology? Why not create a vlog channel, or, there's 100 topics that you could talk about. Why would you talk about assistive technology?
That's a great question. Yeah. As I said, I was diagnosed, started to lose my vision at age 11. So of course I got a CCTV to help with school, and back in the late 80s and early 90s that they would give you a 4-sided tape recorder to take notes, and you'd get a magnifier, and you'd get a monocular to sit so you can sit at your desk and see what the teacher was writing up on the board. I've just always been around assistive technology, growing up with it, using it. Then I just kind of being a geeky kind of guy, I loved technology in general. Early 2000s, I was actually, and this kind of leads into how the channel got started, but I got a job making videos on YouTube for this company based in Texas. And this company repaired mobile phones. And this guy in particular had a YouTube channel where he taught people how to modify their Android phones, basically hack their phones. He needed somebody to take over the channel, and I needed a job at the time. So I applied for the job, and I got the job, and I was able to make videos at home for this YouTube channel. That further increased my love for technology. Later on, much later, I actually got a job as an assistive technology trainer. I did that for about 4 years. So teaching blind and visually impaired individuals how to use their computers and how to use their smartphones, and teaching them about CCTVs and digital magnification and screen readers and all this stuff. So that further enhanced my love for AT.
Okay. Well, the fact that you've always been avid about assistive technology is great. However, I don't know if you agree with me, but not many people know what's out there on assistive technology wise.
Mm-hmm.
They just think it's a white cane, magnifiers, and that's it. But is that kind of a goal of your channel, to create a lot more awareness of what's out there, tools that could benefit people? So is that part of the goal of the channel?
Yeah, absolutely. That also stemmed from my time as an assistive technology trainer. When I would work with people, I'd have people come in for their first appointment. I always sat down and I talked with people. We talked about their goals and their needs and what they wanted to accomplish, kind of talk about ways that we could do that. But I loved it because these people would come in, and usually they were new to vision loss. Most of the time it was older individuals that, maybe age-related macular degeneration or something like that. They just started losing their vision, and they were very upset and depressed. I mean, they were going through that period of loss, and it's very much like, a loved one has passed away. You've lost something that you've had, and so there's the depression, oftentimes the denial and all that. And so at the end of the appointment, though, their attitudes had completely changed. They were upbeat, they were excited about the possibilities, because like you said, when they came in, they had no idea what was available. So when they left, though, they realized that there's a ton of stuff that's out there that can help them read or help them see the faces of their children, or find their way from point A to point B. So that bleeds over into the channel. Over the last couple of years, a heavy part of my YouTube channel has become assistive technology. It didn't start out that way, but it's kind of morphed into that. And it's for that reason alone, is to get the information out there, because there isn't a lot of information readily accessible for what is available to the visually impaired community. And technology is changing every day. So it I continually need to let people know all the new things that are coming out on the market.
Awesome. I would like to transition and ask you more specifically about your transition to YouTube. Could you tell me more about it? Did you start it as a hobby? Because, I mean, right now it's a full-time job. And I consider you, of course, an ambassador of assistive technology.
Hmm. Yeah. So as I said, I one day I just decided to search for my vision impairment on YouTube, see if there were any videos about Stargardt's disease. There weren't a lot of videos out there. There were just a few. There were several medical style videos, talking about the clinical aspects of Stargardt's, but I wasn't really looking for that. I was looking for something that was more real life, people living with it. And there wasn't that much out there. It was maybe like 2 videos, that's all. And there wasn't any blind YouTubers on YouTube at that point that were really well known anyways. I think Tommy Edison was probably the only one that I knew of. So I decided, you know what, I've got all the equipment, I should make my own YouTube channel and start my own channel, and it'll be about living life with vision impairment. So that's what I did. That was 2013 was when I launched The Blind Spot. As you said, back then, it was just something fun to do. It wasn't, I didn't have any goals. I didn't have any direction. I would just make a video whenever I thought of a topic. I could go like 2 weeks, 3 weeks in between making a video, or I could put out 2 videos in a week. There wasn't any kind of direction. But slowly over time with YouTube, if you really want to reach more audience and stuff, you kind of have to have structure and work out a schedule and an upload schedule. And you also have to narrow down your topic of your channel. So mine kind of distilled down into assistive technology. At this time, I was working as the AT trainer, and so I had access to a lot of assistive technology. So that's kind of what the channel turned into. I still do videos about living life with with vision impairments. I focus on the life side of the blind life also. So it's not all just technology, but the vast majority of my videos these days are technology. I'm on a schedule. I put out a video every Monday, trying to get out as much information as possible.
This is a very brief thank you to all users who sent feedback on their Sunu bands. This is a message from Megumi Rata. For me, this is the very first sonar device I found useful. Other devices I have used have wider field, making it impossible for me to walk through a hallway and detect an object in my way, as the device would constantly buzz or beep, responding to walls on the left and right. With the Sunu band, I can locate an object quite easily, and I also discovered I use the app more often than I thought I would. Thank you so much, Megumi. And let's thank Sam Seavey for offering a 10% discount on the Sunu band when using his code TheBlindLife altogether. For more information, sunu.com. That's SUNU.com. Regarding the growth of your channel, did you see yourself, when you started in 2013 doing YouTube full time, or what were your thoughts then when you started it out? Was it like, tell me more about it?
Yeah, back then it was just something fun to do, something to pass the time. I didn't have any plans, any aspirations of this turning into something big. And the tricky thing with YouTube, especially if you're in the community space that I am, which is the blind and visually impaired community, you're not going to grow fast on YouTube. If I were making video games videos, or videos about beauty and health and that kind of thing, makeup videos, then you're going to grow much faster. There's a bigger community for that. Blind and visually impaired community on YouTube, it's much, much, much bigger now than it was, but it was very slow growth. So it was probably like 4 years before I hit maybe 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, it was very, very slow at first. The nice thing, though, about YouTube is that it's exponential growth. So the more you have, the faster you grow. It's growing pretty good now. I just hit 20,000 subscribers, maybe 3 days ago or something.
Wow.
And it's probably 20,100 or something now. I don't know what it is, actually. I haven't looked lately. That's the other thing. You don't want to focus on it. You don't want to obsess about it, because it will take you down that rabbit hole of just, why isn't anybody watching? What am I doing wrong? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How important is patience in the blind and visually impaired community when you're putting out content?
It's very important. You want to stick to a schedule. Like I said, because it's just like your favorite TV show on television. You know that every Monday night at 8 p.m. there's going to be a new show, and that's what you look forward to. So YouTube is very similar. People know, okay, Sam's going to have a video out sometime on Monday, usually Monday afternoon. Then that's awesome. They can expect that. But the other problem with YouTube is you've got to be consistent. You got to keep it going, because if you don't, you're not going to grow. People will forget about you and stop watching, and you're not going to reach. And then YouTube won't promote you in their system. So, I always say you've got to feed the machine. And that's where a lot of people kind of fall off the radar on YouTube. They have these great goals and aspirations of making a YouTube channel and putting out content and getting popular and all that. And then you see them put out 3 or 4 videos, and then they quickly realize how much work it is, what a commitment it is, and they slowly fade away. You never see them again.
I agree with you. It's very important to focus on persistence rather than instant results, because,
Yeah.
on this generation, we all want everything yesterday. So what would you say to someone maybe blind or visually impaired and they want to start creating content, whatever the platform is?
Well, it's very funny that you asked that, because I just put out a video about 2 weeks ago on how to start a YouTube channel for the visually impaired, kind of some tips and tricks for that. But the main tip that I give people, and this is true for YouTube or writing a blog or doing a podcast, whatever it is just do it. Just get started. Don't worry about how amazing, a lot of people get hung up on, well, I'm not going to do it if it's not going to be great. It's not going to be amazing. Oh, it's not going to be amazing when you first start. Everything is generally terrible when you first start, except this podcast, obviously. But but I mean, if you go back to my old original videos, they were terrible. The camera quality was horrible. The audio was horrible, and that's just the way it is. You get better the more you do it. It comes with practice, just like anything. But someone once said, I apologize to whoever first said this, I don't recall, but they said, you don't have to be great to start something, but you have to start something to be great. And that's so true. Just get something going.
Just get the ball rolling. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So going back to your career, what are your future projects? Where do you see yourself in a few years, in a few months? Tell me more about what we can expect from Sam Seavey.
Well, just continuing to try and grow the channel. Hopefully going to be doing more collaborations with other amazing blind people. I've got a couple things in the works right now, including hopefully a trip out to Texas to do this survival thing with this guy. Won't say anything more than that, but hopefully that'll pan out.
Okay.
It sounds like a lot of fun. Currently working on getting my website up and running. People have asked for that for a long time. Viewers they have a hard time finding my videos on YouTube. And so having a website will be a central location where people can go and they can find out everything, having to do with the blind life, whether that's the clothing I sell, the shirts I sell on Amazon, or the podcasts like this one, or my videos, or anything, speaking engagements, that sort of thing. Overall, though, going to continue to grow the channel and hopefully reach as many people as possible, preaching the awesome word of being blind.
Perfect. So you mentioned that you're, of course, going to open up your website, your blog. I would like to ask you, what's the favorite part of your job? Do you like writing? Do you like creating with the camera, or is it something that you would find interesting, in blogging, like literally writing content?
No. I've been asked that before to do a blog, and I am terrible at writing. Believe it or not, I'm much better in person, and I guess on camera. So I will probably never do a blog. I'm sorry to everybody out there, but that's just not everybody has their strengths, right? And writing is definitely not one of mine. But probably I do enjoy the creative side of making the videos, setting up the shots, setting up the different camera angles, getting the different shots, the B-roll. I enjoy that, making even though most of my viewers are low vision to no vision at all, I enjoy making the picture as look as good as possible with the colors and all this and the contrast. I enjoy doing all that. But probably the thing I love the most is meeting people in the community, interacting with people in the community. I go to these conferences all the time. Took 9 different trips last year. My day job and YouTube. I really love going to these conferences and meeting people, or going to different events and meeting other people in the visually impaired community. I think that's, and helping people. I get emails and I get comments all the time about how people love the videos and they find it so helpful. And you and I were just at a conference recently, and I was actually sitting down in the lobby waiting to meet somebody for a breakfast. And a guy walked up to me and he said, "Excuse me, I hate to interrupt you, but I just want to let you know I love your videos, and they really helped me out." This gentleman shows devices to people and things like that, and so he watches my videos to learn about what's out there, so that he can pass that information on. I thought that was awesome. I love interacting with people like that. So that's probably the best part about it.
How often do you get stopped on the street like, "Hey, Sam, you know what? I am a fan of your channel. Thank you so much. Thanks to you, I was able to find the Sunu band, hopefully," right?
Right. I hear that a lot.
It changed my life. How often does that happen?
When I go to these conferences, it happens a lot. I get recognized a lot because I've got a kind of a unique look with the bald head and the beard, so people spot me pretty easily. And it's very funny. People ask to take my picture and things like that. I actually gave my first autograph at this last conference, so that was pretty awesome. And then
congratulations there.
Yeah, thank you. And then once somebody recognized me on an airplane. I wasn't even in the city. They weren't there for a conference. I was coming home from a conference, but they were there. They travel back and forth to the city for work. And so it wasn't even blind related. And this lady, her husband's recently visually impaired. And he's been watching my videos, trying to learn out about what's out there. And she recognized me, and it was really, really cool.
You feel famous now. Awesome.
Yeah, I do a little bit.
Awesome.
Definitely a boost to the ego.
Yeah, of course, the part of interacting with people, but also these little things such as, giving an autograph out. That's what keeps you going, right?
Not all. I mean, it does feel good. Of course, I do it even if I wasn't, recognized, obviously. But it does feel good when people spot me and "Hey, Sam for the Blind Life."
Yes. Yeah, especially. Of course, we met last week in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Very big event, and you're an ambassador. You're an influencer in the blind and visually impaired community.
Yeah, I guess so. That's what people want to say. Then I'm all for it. Yeah.
So let's say that you're on a cab drive and someone asks what you do. How do you explain them, or how do you label yourself per se?
Well, referring to my YouTube career, I generally just say I have a YouTube channel, which kind of gets the conversation going, especially, if I'm in there with my cane. Because I carry a cane for not for navigation, for identification. I don't travel in cabs because cabs aren't accessible, but I do Lyft and Uber. So I have my cane so that the Lyft driver knows, this guy is visually impaired. He may need help, or I may need to make contact with him because he's not going to be able to see the license. If I'm holding my cane and I say I have a YouTube channel, people are pretty interested in that. And it goes back to once again the misinformation. They think, well, you're blind. How can you have a YouTube channel? So it kind of sparks the conversation, and I enjoy those conversations. We've talked about this before. I've talked about this on my channel and with other visually impaired influencers, content creators. Sometimes you just don't want to explain it. You just want to be left alone. You don't want to be the voice of the blind community. But everybody feels like that every now and then. But in general, I like to be the advocate and talk about it. So when that conversation comes up, I'm happy to get right into it and say, yeah, I do videos about living life with vision impairment and assistive technology, and it's really cool. Here's my card. Check out my channel. Share it.
Like it with your yeah, of course. Like, subscribe, and
Yeah.
what's everything that you need to say at the end of each video.
Yeah.
That's right. Awesome. Sam, I would like to ask, to wrap up this conversation,
Mhm.
I would like to share the most meaningful life lesson that you have for our audience.
Sure. So I say this all the time, and it's kind of the motto of the channel, that it's the underlying main theme of the channel, is that it's not the end of the world. Being visually impaired, having vision impairment, being blind, legally blind, partially sighted, sight impaired, whatever you want to call it, it's not the end of the world. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's challenging and all that. But you just need to learn the new way of doing things. And this is more for people that are newly been diagnosed and are losing their vision and all that. Yeah, it's scary and all that, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right, because it's just like anything. We adapt and we learn how to overcome, and we learn how to do things a different way. It could be a lot worse, especially nowadays with technology. Technology has really leveled the playing field in so many areas for us and allowed us to do just incredible things. Use the tools that are around you. Watch my channel so you can learn what's available. Like and comment and subscribe and all that stuff. And share it with all your friends.
Share with all your friends. Yes, of course. Now that you mention it, how can we find you on social media?
On my YouTube, it's The Blind Life, THE Blind Life. Basically, if you Google The Blind Life, you're going to find me. I've got over 550 videos on YouTube just on my channel alone. So any kind of Google search for just about any kind of assistive technology is going to bring up one of my videos. I am on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, but I rarely do anything on those. But you can check it out. It's all of those are The Blind Life Sam. YouTube, it's The Blind Life. Everywhere else, it's The Blind Life Sam.
Perfect. Sam, you're an awesome guy. Thank you very much for opening up today with us and sharing that valuable information. Well, I mean, of course, it's the first episode, but it's the best life lesson that we've had on the podcast so far.
Right.
So thank you so much for that, Sam.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Yes, I really feel this is the best podcast you've ever done. Not tooting my own horn, but I think I'm the best guest you've ever had.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, Sam. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
No. Yeah. You guys go out and buy a Sunu band.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Sam, thank you so much for being here with us today.
My pleasure.
This episode was brought to you by the Sunu Band, the sonar smartwatch that allows blind and visually impaired individuals to navigate with confidence. If you'd like to know more, go to sunu.com, that's SUNU.com, and follow Sunu's social media for more episodes of The Hummingbird.